I want to dedicate this video to a warning to be wary of whom you allow to pray for you. And this relates to specifically to an incident that I experienced myself, and being broad-minded and all-encompassing, and trying to not be subjective, or biased against any other religion or other prayer or other thing. I allowed it, and I had a negative incident. So I'll discuss that in this video. So let's go through the formalities. For those who don't know me, I am Osman, and if you like my videos, please like and subscribe. This will help me reach many other people as well. And it is my service to provide unique content um, that is thought-provoking for you to make your own decisions, right? And I'm an energy healer on a master level with telepathic capabilities, specializing in critical care recovery and terminal illnesses, and of course, a host of other serious physiological, psychological, and even spiritual ailments, especially um, treating the adverse effects of involuntary Kundalini awakening. I'm also a master master level or advanced level yoga and meditation teacher, and I've been practicing yoga for over 50 years. Oh, sorry, close on to 50 years, and teaching for 44 years. And in that time, I learned under various masters, and I weaned the essence of the best of their teachings, and I worked very hard during these decades to simplify it and find a workable, easier, simpler, more effective, and quicker, but powerful, methods, and created my own protocols. And to that end, I even created a 5-minute yoga and meditation program, which you can download for free from my website, yogawellness786.com, and where you can also get more information on my services. And of course, during this period, I've also got students from over 100 countries. And also remember, all my therapies are natural based and not a replacement for medical treatment. Coming to the incidents which I described in a previous video, when it happened, a person, she just visited, and she was someone that I had known, for, I think, uh, over 25 years, and, from the past, and I hadn't seen her probably for about 12, 15 years or so. And she visited, and we bumped into each other, and it was a surprise actually. And she had become, she says she's spending her time full time in, what was the word she used? uh, in, in doing missionary service, preaching the word of God. I said, that's amazing. I mean, someone who, um, wants to do that, that is good. And I have the utmost respect, especially for Christian missionaries who sacrifice their lives in trying to spread the message of Christianity, and the religion to very far and wide places, and they were butchered and murdered mercilessly, and they went alone to very primitive areas, and cannibalistic people and barbaric people, and today, their Christianity is everywhere, and anyone whose foundation is trying to preach, good ethics, good morals, and that's basically the foundation behind it. And you know this is something good. So I allowed, but the problem came, which was a surprise, that she went into a trance, right? While she was praying, she started to pray, and then suddenly she started to speak in tongues, which I know in the Christian religion, in the church, people speak in tongues. They have the gift of tongues, and there's also people who have the gift of interpretation, and they can interpret what is being spoken in their tongues. And she was very intense and never say anything, negative or something that would be offensive, to anyone. It was just pure prayer and encouraging people, to her way of religion, and to follow her, to get baptized and worship the Lord, that she worships, and and so forth. And I've got my own faith, and I'm quite um, comfortable, and I don't feel any need for something more. And but anyway, I didn't feel anything negative, but her going into a trance was something. It's like it created some skepticism, on my side. And I'm a pragmatic type of person, and I don't I feel a bit negative, or I feel a bit withdrawn, or uncomfortable. I think the right word is uncomfortable when someone goes into a trance, right? Speak in a normal way, right? And is that a possession, and what is it, and how scientific is it? And of course, maybe science does not have, you know, the ambit to be able to, analyze such things. So anyway, I felt no problem, and later, and then she blessed everyone. She like put a cross, with a finger on my forehead. Okay, no problem. What is that going? There's no harm in that, right? And so I left it at that. Then, a f- a few nights, about a week or two later, I was praying. I'm normally praying on my own prayer, and it was an emotional prayer, and I stood up, and I felt a distinctive brush on my right shoulder, right? So as though I brushed against a wall, and I was alone, in my room, and I'm blind, so I can't see anything. But I know there's no objects around me to have brushed me, and I thought I dismissed it as something, just an imagination or a hallucination, right? And then one of the nights, while I was sleeping, and I was having a bad dream, like a nightmare, and I was probably because when in that particular dream that I remember, I was starting to I wasn't afraid, but I was reciting a prayer, but I couldn't say the prayer out. It's a dream, of course, not real. So I'm trying to say a prayer, but you're struggling to say, the words were not coming. So I probably was sounding like I'm struggling, you know, uh, in my sleep. If someone was awake, while observing me, and it was coming to the end of it, and I felt distinctly a finger go down my spine like this and create a cross, from behind me, because I was sleeping on my side, and my back was facing, the edge of the bed, the outside, and as though someone stood there, and the finger distinctly, I felt that, and I woke up, once I felt that, I woke up. So was that part of the dream or not? But it felt very distinctively, as though it was real. It felt very real. But whether real or not real, and like a cross, and relating to the cross, being created in my forehead, the trance, is it some spirit? Is there something? I can't say no or yes, right? Because I can't prove, there is such a things, uh, and although there is a lot of evidences and so forth about, but whether this specifically is that, when I studied in university studies on, there was one of the courses, one section, one lecture, in my studies, where it approached the subject of spirits and so forth, and the professor was saying, like, in the spirit world, these spirits don't come, they're not allowed to interfere with the human world, right? And if someone says they're possessed and so forth, generally there's no such. They're 99, more than 90% of the time, they are not possessed. It's just a psychological problem that they have, right? And I respected that, and that gives a more scientific backing, that everyone who claims to have possessions and so forth rather go to a psychologist or a psychiatrist, right, and get diagnosed and analyzed, and they will confirm. If they say they don't know, that's another thing, right? And also there's the movie The Exorcist, about this priest who's doing exorcisms and so forth. So probably there's something behind it because he's done so many of it, right? So I don't discount all that, and I keep an open mind. But for myself, me allowing someone to, they innocently say they want to pray, and next time someone comes and they say they want to pray, I'll be careful, I say, no, sorry, I don't want that. Because, yes, I allowed the person, but maybe, right? They, I allowed, a spirit to enter, the same spirit that possessed her and went her into, hypothetically speaking, if that happened, right? Maybe she's got some psychosis. And maybe, there's one argument that we cannot say no, for sure it's not that, right? One viewpoint is maybe she went into a trance and being possessed by a spirit, because that time I felt like an energy, because I'm sensitive to the energy world, and I can even see part of the energy world, right? Not other people or entities and things like the different color lights of the different chakras and the different nadis, the Ida and the Pingala nadis, the colors and like a white light and so forth, and it could be, imagination and hypothetical, because one can focus on something and like a placebo effect, create what in your because these are not real, these are in my mind's eye, right? So similarly, maybe it is because there's a law of literature. I'm an advanced level yoga and meditation teacher, but I try to do everything science based, right? And try not to delve into things that are not provable, scientifically. And now we're allowing someone to pray, and what are we bringing into our lives? Is it perhaps bringing, inviting the spirit entity, and maybe the spirit entity was here. So I just, like, usually if I suspect there's some negativity or something, I do my own prayer, um, and a simple prayer, that's part of my, in my religion, and I'm a Muslim, so it was from the Quran, and it's a prayer for protection, which is commonly, said, that part of it to protect yourself. So it's also like a placebo effect, right? It's it makes you feel confident, gives you faith and belief, and that is scientific. Something that gives you faith and belief, scientifically, the placebo effect is amazing. It improves, reduces, it's shown to reduce stress by about 20 to 30%, and reduce cortisol levels, and also improve health by about 20%, I believe. Strengthen your resistance against uh, uh, you know um, illnesses and so forth, right? So there is science behind that, and having a faith. So I have faith in that, and I said it with faith, and after that, I stopped fearing about it, and I didn't experience anything further, and this brings me to the conclusion, that to be broad-minded and just allow anyone to pray, this is unnecessary. Now, this is an unnecessary psychological doubt that was created in my mind, and when she's going into a trance and all. And I don't want to, where there is this type of thing, and miss people going into a trance and they start saying they speaking to God, and and they are speaking from God and so forth. you know I want to stay away, from things like that, and stick to the practical aspects. Even within religions itself, there's a spectrum, right? Some who are very fanatical and so forth, and I like to wean, because I'm a adult human being, right? Wean what is good and do what is good for me, because I've got my own things to do, right? I've got my business to run, and I want to, my religion more, I believe, is in being helpful to society. Yes, I can keep, my faith to myself, but not let it encroach into other people and make it, make my life impractical, where it's interfering with, practical aspects of interfering with my, meetings, or now, break the meeting in the middle of a meeting. I need to go and pray. I don't do things like that. I do things logically, and I do my business, And when I got spare time and free time, I do my prayer in my spare time and free time, right? Not encroach into activities and so forth, right? And allowing, coming back to the point, I always kept an open mind, until uh, today I realized, this is not something that I should do anymore. I've decided, no. Someone wants to pray, I say yes. I'm very, I respect, your faith and so forth, but not in not in my home, or may I excuse myself? It's not my home, right? I'll excuse myself from um, uh, such activities, right? It may seem innocent, it's a prayer, it's someone's religion, and they're doing it, but I'm not going to go and take part, in something that I haven't analyzed and studied. I don't know what's hidden behind it, what other things. And anything comes, then I want to start having a doubt. Maybe there was some spirit or something there, something satanic, and maybe, say this, satanic rituals are true, and there is something, and it's affecting me. Start having all these doubts. I don't want to have that. So I don't know about you, but I think the advice or the opinion that I have is something that is not harmful for others. I'm not being disrespectful, and but I don't want to allow, and maybe it's inviting something, or creating all the doubts, right? So what it really created is all the doubts, right? And I don't want to have that type of thing, in my life, and let it trouble me. And I hope that perspective and information helps you think deeper on the subject. Take care always.